As the filterless phenomenon takes traction, there has been a steady change in how companies and influencers express themselves on Instagram, moving away from the polished perfect to embrace the raw and honest. Let's lay it out. In 2012, Instagram grew in popularity and feeds were filled with images taken from the internet and blurry close-ups of random objects. It was the era of quantity over quality and the definition of unaesthetic. 8 years later, Instagram turned into something unrecognizable, providing very filtered and photoshopped content. Feeds were curated, themed, and sponsored. It was no longer a photo-sharing app, but a universal boasting platform, a place to share highlight reels of the picture-perfect part of someone's life. What once started off as an authentic and simple app filled with candid moments of people's lives slowly turned into a culture obsessed with perfection. If you search Instagram on YouTube, you can see a handful of videos with more than 1 million views about how to create the most aesthetically pleasing feed or gain more followers and likes. No longer about sharing aspects of one's personal life, Instagram transformed into a place of business for people to build a brand or image. Many users even opted to switch their accounts into a professional one where they could see their engagement and growth. It's no wonder that most people think of Instagram when discussing the toxic social media culture. Compared to apps such as Twitter and TikTok, Instagram became extremely serious as it created pressure to be perfect. Casual posting evolved as a rebellion of this curated Instagram. This trend was picked up and carried by the TikTok community as users started to post more seemingly mundane TikToks of their daily routines or what they eat in a day. This then translated over to Instagram, where young users are keen to show that they aren't like other people, in that they don't care about their Instagram looking perfect. Showing an insight into influencer lives allowed users to connect with their fans on a more personal level. Now for what I'm calling the Instagram era breakdown. So first we have the early Instagram era. The first picture posted onto Instagram was the founder. His filtered image really set the scene for the posts of the next few years. Some key attributes from the early Instagram era included limited 1x1 square images. There was no idea of aesthetics, just purely photos that people liked. Like count was very low, not a lot of people on Instagram. It was literally just friends, family, and no pressure. Then we go into the curated Instagram era. In 2017, it was at its peak. Influencers that come to mind who really honed this type of Instagram content were My Life as Ava, Aspen Ovard, and even the British Vlog Squad. It was filled with bright filters, perfect feeds, perfectly curated backgrounds and setups. JC Marie Smith even shared a TikTok recently where, when looking back on her previous photos, that it was meant to be curated, and even jokes about it now.
I don't think you guys understand how committed I was to getting a good photo. I would quite literally do anything. I immediately would edit the photos like literally 10 minutes after taking them and put in all the work and then send it to the brand. Curation was everything. Everything was almost supposed to be curated. I remember getting a lot of crap myself and all my other influencer friends, like, this is not real, this is staged, or like, this is not real life. But the thing is, it never was supposed to be. This was like our way of creating art and beautiful things. And for me, I don't think the goal was ever to be like, look at this incredible, like, beautiful life I live. It was more just like, how can I take an ordinary moment and make it magic?
It ushered in a very particular look. Bright walls, artificially arranged lattes, and avocado toast. And millennial pink everything. All with that carefully staged, colour-corrected, glossy-looking aesthetic. Even if you don't use the app, you've undoubtedly encountered an Instagram wall. A pop-up experience like the Museum of Ice Cream, or a brightly patterned Instagram bathroom just made to be photographed. A positive of this trend was that there was a greater understanding that the influencers clogging up our feeds worked hard to portray their lives in a certain way. The distinction between what is real and what is fabricated was very clear. There was a gradual shift away from the rainbow-coloured, pre-planned photos that dominated the platforms in late 2017. In the summer of 2018, Instagram announced that it would begin to test hide likes, rolling out first in 7 countries, including Australia and Japan. In November 2019, they announced the rollout in the United States to a small group of users. Maybe the trigger for the shift away from the curated feeds had something to do with this, as well as COVID. People may feel more at ease to post whatever they want if there's no obligation to show that your post is succeeding. Hiding your like count meant that you could start posting whatever you wanted without any pressure. Then entered Make Instagram Casual again. Since the start of the pandemic, the way young people post on Instagram has shifted away from perfectly posed photos. This change is in part due to people being stuck inside, having less to post about, but it's also a result of the TikTok trend encouraging users to make Instagram casual again. Now photo dumps and blurry photos that scream, "I'm not trying too hard," fill our feeds. This laid-back brand of content is reflective of Gen Z's newest social media movement. Casual posting involves posting whatever you like and not considering the reception. This may involve little bits of your day, from coffees to face masks. Fast-rising young influencers such as Emma Chamberlain, Jazzy all rejected the notion of curated feeds in a favour for a messier and more unfiltered vibe. Let's take the famous Emma Chamberlain as an example. She is the queen of crying selfies, exemplifying how our favourite influencers are creating an upgraded, more relatable online persona. One of the best outcomes of making Instagram casual is that it can remove the toxic pressure to be perfect. It seems like the majority of users are just tired of treating Instagram as seriously as they used to. This is most likely the reason why a lot of people started to make Finstas, slang for fake Instagram, where they could make a private account dedicated to posting whatever they wanted to their close friends to see without worrying about their public image. These Instagram accounts were more candid, personal, and casual than one's main account. But it's still inconvenient to make a whole new account to post what you actually want. People no longer want to think about if a family photo will match their feed or wonder if a certain selfie will get a good number of likes. They don't want to spend hours editing their pictures and constantly checking their follower count. Now users want Instagram to be completely casual again without having to make a separate private account, which is understandable. Even an increase in Instagram versus reality photos and videos have grown in popularity as influencers attempt to make themselves seem more accessible, especially in fitness account circles, portraying the message that not everything is perfect. With the rise of nostalgia, it feels like we've come full circle to 2014 Instagram days. A TikTok user started the trend, sharing her take on the 2014 editing style, captioning it, "Making my pics look like they were taken in 2014 just because." One thing that I've noticed is definitely film cameras and grainy pictures are becoming very popular at the moment, shared through reels and photo dumps. People are buying disposable cameras to make memories, and it feels so wholesome. All of these are an attempt to make Instagrams look casual, carefree, and there may be a brand new trend emerging as I write this, but right now I'm loving the nostalgic and relaxed approach everyone is taking to Instagram at the moment. Now, I think it's quite fun to have a comparison, comparing Instagram eras to each other and how influencers and brands have adapted to the trends over the years. Instagram stars spoke about moving away from ring lights and towards showing off their faces in sunlight instead. JC Marie is such a good example of an influencer who transitioned from each trend so well. She has deleted her perfectly curated travel pictures for a fresh and more casual feed. Her TikToks are really interesting and insightful into her thought process back then and how it evolved. If you compare Aspen Ovard to her younger sister, the way they interact with Instagram is very different, showing how Instagram feeds have evolved even between generations. Aspen is a millennial who came from the perfectly curated season of Instagram, and her Instagram to some degree still feels reminiscent of that era, while Avery is very much part of the Gen Z casual Instagram. I've even noticed a colour difference between the two feeds, bright and clean compared to dull and dark. Saturation has decreased to create a less polished version of the photo, appearing more dingy and relatable, almost like it was taken and posted then and there. Even poses seem to be more relaxed and appear less posed as before. They are still posed, but in a more effortless, natural way. Food pictures are less perfect and take to a more maximalist approach in styling. Even Brandy Melville transitioned their marketing and feed to adjust to the trends, creating an LA to New York pipeline. As New York has gained popularity amongst influencers and many have been making the move, LA has become less desirable. This is a physical example of why the saturation has gone from bright LA to dark New York. Brandy was filled with blonde beach girls and bright blue skies. Now it's darker and more edgy with more diversity, but it still seems like the blonde beach girls have just moved to New York. But is Make Instagram Casual just as toxic as every other trend? Instagram culture is constantly changing, and what is and isn't acceptable to post is a hard concept to keep up with. As trying too hard becomes increasingly unfashionable, the pressure to hop on the casual trend becomes more and more prevalent. This movement may put pressure on you to portray yourself online in a way that comes off as careless as possible, all while remaining aesthetically pleasing. Previously, when young people were viewing Instagram posts by their favourite influencers, they were able to take them with a pinch of salt, knowing that Instagram may be their job and that their feeds are highly curated to draw in audiences. But now the ambiguities surrounding whether these real-life posts are truly that, it can be confusing for young audiences who may feel that they need to live that type of life. The problem with making Instagram casual is that it's never really been less casual in its entire evolution. You need to post the perfect amount of pictures with the perfect amount of relevance, while still looking silly but beautiful, friendly but cool, drunk but not too drunk, social but relaxed. The list of oxymorons goes on and on. If you're not constantly surrounded by the party lifestyle, the pretty friends, the stunning locations, your casual Instagram post is not enough. So then how is this trend any less painful and toxic than what Instagram was before? When life slows down, there's not enough to post. When life is an all-time high, you spend the majority of your memories on your phone taking pictures. Maybe there's no happy medium in this casual posting concept as well. I guess one of the downfalls of making Instagram casual again is we now compare ourselves to snapshots of life that we're led to believe are unadulterated, yet are still ultimately curated. So, my final thoughts. Granted, this new trend of laid-back posting provides a welcome contrast to the previous aesthetic, curated by social media influencers, of heavily filtered pictures, saturated feeds, and perfect model-like poses. Making Instagram casual again seems like a nostalgic reinvention of the app's earlier stages. Gen Z is attempting to enforce a culture of normalcy online, and our favourite celebrities are leading the change. In the long run, you might find that making your Instagram carefree and personal is not only beneficial for your mental health, but also a brilliant and candid time capsule to look back on. Instead of seeing a false identity of yourself, you can enjoy the real memories and random pictures that represent who you really are. Posting what you want, when you want, should be the absolute and total goal of the app. Post your highs, post your lows, post what you think describes you best. Your art, makeup, fashion, or lifestyle. Whatever you think suits your interests is what people should see on your feed. Social media still has a long way to go before it can be a completely non-toxic and supportive outlet. Ultimately, people are just looking for things they can relate to, and the pink wall and avocado toast are not what people are interested in anymore.